And with that, I'll take your questions. John.
Sarah, clearly the president has strong views on whether or not players in professional sports teams should stand for the national anthem. Given the response that the president has gotten over the last 48 hours, even from Tom Brady, the New England Patriots, who believed that what the president said on Friday night was very divisive, does the president regret at all describing these players who take a knee for the national anthem as SOBs who should be fired?
Look, this isn't about the president being against anyone, but this is about the president and millions of Americans being for something, being for honoring our flag, honoring our national anthem, and honoring the men and women who fought to defend it. I think General Martin Dempsey, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said it best when he said this morning. It's important to remember that our military is composed entirely of volunteers. It obviously takes a special kind of patriotism for people to volunteer to risk their life for their country. Theirs is not blind patriotism that pretends there is nothing wrong with the country. Every man and woman in uniform knows we still have work to do to achieve the equality, opportunity, and justice for all to which we aspire. But every member of the military also knows that what is right about America is worth defending. And if it's worth defending, it's worth honoring. He continued, I just hope that the athletes who are using the anthem as a protest understand why people like me intend to keep standing during the national anthem. We do so not because we agree with everything America has done or everything that has been done in America's name, but because despite all of that, the world is a better place because America exists. That seems to me to be worth the honor of respect during the national anthem.
I understand General Dempsey's position. I think people would thank him for his service to this great nation. But did the president go too far in referring to these players as SOBs who should be fired?
I think that it's always appropriate for the President of the United States to defend our flag, to defend the national anthem, and to defend the men and women who fought and died to defend it. Peter?
So let me ask you, you've often talked about how the President uses Twitter as a platform to sort of emphasize those things that are most important. Over the course of the last 72 hours, the President has tweeted more than a dozen times about sports, about kneeling, about NASCAR on this topic. He tweeted 0 times about Puerto Rico. So I guess the bottom line question is, what message is the president sending by emphasizing sports right now and not a big crisis that's affecting so many?
He's not emphasizing sports. You're missing the entire purpose of the message. He's emphasizing something that should be unifying. Celebrating and promoting patriotism in our country is something that should bring everybody together. When it comes to Puerto Rico, the president has sent both Administrator Long and Senior Advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, Tom Bossert, to Puerto Rico today. They're on the ground to assess the damage. We've done unprecedented movement in terms of federal funding to provide for the people of Puerto Rico and others that have been impacted by these storms. We'll continue to do so and continue to do everything that we can possibly under the federal government to provide assistance.
To be very clear, you say the president is instead emphasizing something that brings Americans together. And what message does it send for the president to stand behind the presidential seal at a rally in Alabama and call an American citizen who's expressing his First Amendment rights a son of a bitch?
Again, I think it's always appropriate for the president to defend our flag, to defend the national anthem. Hold on, I'm not finished. It's always appropriate for the president of this country to promote our flag, to promote our national anthem, and ask people to respect it.
Promote the First Amendment.
Peter, answer your question.
Does the president believe that there are very fine people who kneeled yesterday watching those games, or are they all SOBs?
I think you're trying to conflate different things here. Look, we certainly respect the rights that people have, but I think we also need to focus. Again, this isn't about the president being against something, which is what everybody wants to drive. This is about the president being for something. This is about the president being for respect in our country through symbols like the American flag, like the national anthem, and the hundreds of thousands of people that actually stand versus the few hundred that may have knelt.
If I can, the president said that kneeling has nothing to do with race. Colin Kaepernick took to his knees in these games, many of these games, specifically because he said black people in this country were not being treated fairly by police. How is that not an issue of race?
I think that the focus has long since changed, and certainly the message and what a lot has been communicated over these last several weeks through this process, through this protest by these players.
Sarah, from this podium, you've often expressed some frustration about the media not focusing on the agenda that the president has, substantive issues, things he wants to get done, tax reform, healthcare, etc. When did the president decide at this rally that he was going to spend so much time talking about the flag itself? And doesn't that distract from the things that you are trying to accomplish this week, whether it's tax reform or healthcare or the efforts in Puerto Rico or the showdown with North Korea?
Look, I certainly don't think that talking about the American flag is a distraction for the President of the United States. Again, this should be something that every American can get behind and support and celebrate is national pride in our country, and supporting those that have fought and died to defend it from all different backgrounds. And so I think, again, that is certainly should be a priority of the President, but you act like that's all he did over the weekend. We also did a lot of other things, continuing to push forward on tax reform, continuing to push forward on health care, continuing to push forward on the safety and security of the border in our country.
Rally with that in mind, though. That was the point. You said, I want to put this in the headlines.
I'm not sure when that decision was made. I wasn't there, but I know that it's a priority for the President to always defend our flag, always defend the national anthem, and certainly to support the men and women in uniform. Go ahead.
Sarah, when Colin Kaepernick says that his protest is about fighting police brutality, fighting racial disparity, racial injustice, you're not taking him at his word. You're saying the focus has long since moved on. But when white supremacists say that their protest is about heritage, not hate, the president does take them at their word. So why is there this disparity about who gets to decide what protest is about?
I think if the debate is really for them about police brutality, they should probably protest the officers on the field that are protecting them instead of the American flag.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So I wanted to ask on the interview the president gave this morning.
Sarah, can you just clarify that? Were you saying that, are you encouraging NFL players to protest police?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I was kind of pointing out the hypocrisy of the fact that if the goal is, and the message is that of police brutality, which they've stated, then that doesn't seem very appropriate to protest the American flag. I'm not sure how those two things would be combined.
Question two, I just want to suss out, I think this question has been going around here today, because you talk about the president wanting to defend the flag. You know the oath of office was to defend the Constitution. So does the president have a problem with the First Amendment?
Not at all. The president is simply stating that pride in our country is a good thing. It's something that we should all celebrate. It's something that should frankly bring us together, not divide us. Standing up for the national anthem, he feels, is a symbol of that.
Jim, just a follow-up on what Nellie was asking. Why is it that the president over the weekend is going after, or seeming to go after, African-American athletes? And then this morning he's putting out a tweet praising NASCAR, which obviously is geared towards a different demographic, and the way they stand in respect and honor the flag. Is he trying to wage something of a cultural war?
Not at all. The president's not talking about race. The president's talking about pride in our country. What you saw yesterday were players and fans of all races joining together as Americans to honor our service members. That's what the president's talking about. That's what his focus is on. As you guys know, the president's got an event here in a few minutes, so we're going to close there. Thanks so much.